Hi everyone, Sebastian with Ignite Your Craft. Today I want to talk about candle pricing, how we price our candles, and how we think that you should price yours as you're starting out. So hopefully these will be some helpful tips to get you going. So there's going to be kind of five key factors to consider when pricing your candle. The first one is going to be to know who is your customer avatar. Who do you want to sell to? Is it people that are similar to your friends and family? Is it a different demographic? Who are you selling to? And really dive in deep to what they spend on candles, what kind of candles they like. Are they the minimalistic approach? Do they just really focus on something that's bright, colorful? Do they like colored, dyed candles? Who is your customer? What is their income brackets? What can they spend on a candle? One great way of doing it is who the customer you want to sell to is. Go into the stores where they're buying candles. See how much those candles cost. How much is it going to be for you to replicate a candle like that, but putting your own branding and twist on it? So that's one thing that we did when we first started out. There were certain stores that we really loved in our town, and we thought, we want to sell in that store. So to do it, we go into those stores, you start picking up different candles, look at the pricing, look at the sizing of them, see what they're made with, what kind of wax is it, figure out exactly what our customers, what our ideal customer would want. You're not going to go into Walmart, Macy's, and Neiman Marcus for candles. Pick one lane and pick one and kind of aim for that and see, it's going to be a totally different person. And it doesn't matter who that person is. It needs to be someone that you're comfortable selling to and creating a candle for. So that's really important. It's also important to know who your customer isn't. Just because you're starting out and you're giving candles to your friends and family, coworkers, and things like that, that's not necessarily who your customer is going to actually be. It's great to get some feedback from them, but asking that person for pricing strategy or how much they would spend on that candle isn't necessarily ideal if they're not your actual customer. So that's one thing to definitely keep in mind, who your customer isn't. And your candles aren't going to be for everyone. So always remember that. Step two, you have to price your products where you are going to be profitable. Do not try to always beat other people's prices. Don't undervalue your work. Remember, this is a business that you're wanting to start. You're doing it to make a profit. Remember why you're selling candles. Is it to make some extra money for your family? Or are you trying to make this a full-time business or somewhere in between? Either way, we're hoping to make money. That's why we want to know how to price our candles. So don't undervalue your work. There's a lot of time, a lot of effort that goes into this, and people will pay. You just have to find those people. Okay, step three, you have to think about your future growth and how you plan on selling your candles in the future when you're starting. I know it can be overwhelming. You're just trying to sell some candles, make a profit, but also think about your future. If you're thinking about going into wholesale at some point, if you want to start selling your candles in a local boutique or reach out to boutiques across the country, that's great. But you've got to make sure you're pricing it right from the beginning. So the way this works is a wholesale account, a retailer that's going to carry your products are going to want to pay half of your retail price. So for instance, our candle here, it's our classic that we sell for $26. Therefore, any wholesaler that is going to buy this to sell in their store is not going to pay any more than $13. And so for us to make a profit on that $13, you got to make sure that that $13 is high enough, right? For instance, this candle is about $6, $6.50 for us to make. If we sold this candle for $18, then that means a wholesale account is going to only want to spend about $9 on it. This is costing us $6.50. I don't want to sell this for a $2.50 profit. It's not worth the time or the energy. This is a $6.50 candle and I'm selling it for $26. Therefore, the wholesalers are buying this from me for $13. So then I'm making like $5.50, $6.50, a candle when I'm selling it wholesale. Then it's manageable when I'm making, 50, 100 of these to sell to them. So make sure you think about, hey, if I'm going to sell this wholesale and this candle costs me, say, $5, what do I need to sell it at to where I'm making a comfortable amount from the wholesaler? So if you're making a candle for $5 and say you want to make $5 on it, then that's $10. So for a wholesaler to buy this candle from you at $10, then you need to be selling it to the public at least $20. But also give yourself some room there. You're going to have labor. You're going to have other things in the future. So give yourself a little bit of room. So that's step three. Think about your future growth. Okay. Step four. This is where I think is important to not stick to just a 4X on your pricing. from your cost of goods up to what you're going to sell for. You got to think about running sales. You got to think about shipping discounts. These are all things that are part of your marketing strategy. You got to think about if I'm going to ever want to put 20% off or run a sale for 30% off, or you got to account for that. You got to make sure your prices are high enough that you're giving a discount occasionally and your customer's feeling great about getting a discount and you're not losing money. Also, if you ever sell out at markets, one of the biggest things that we do is at all of the markets that we do, we always run a buy three, get one free. We get customers into our booth. They start smelling stuff, start loving stuff. And then we mention to them, hey, it's buy three, get one free. And so then they start picking out more. And that works incredibly well for us. So much better than we've tried it also as like 25% off, which is essentially the same if they were to buy four. That's 25% off of each. Running 25% off, I'll sell one or two candles and give them 25% off. However, we're in the business of making money. Sell three of them, get that fourth one free, same as 25% off. But now I just sold three of these at $26. So I just made $78 instead of selling one at 26 and giving 25% off. So, making 19 or whatnot. But you have to account for that. So how do I account for that 25% off? You got to make sure your prices are high enough. If I was just doing like a 3X, like some people mentioned to do for pricing your candles, I wouldn't be able to give those discounts and still make a good profit. So at least 4X is what we stick with. And then we add on top of that, nothing that we create is less than 4X. Step 5, make sure you are calculating your cost of goods correctly. What's inside your candle? So you've got a wick, you got a wick sticker, you've got fragrance oil, you've got wax. Externally, you've got your vessel, you've got your label, you've got a lid or dust cover if you do either of those. You have warning labels that are on the bottom here. You also have a box for your packaging. So think about all of those to put into your cost of goods. That'll give you a really good idea of the cost to make one of these. Also, one thing that sometimes people will forget to do is when you buy all of your products and you have those shipped to you, shipping is so expensive. We know because everything's heavy. Shipping is expensive. That shipping cost that you're spending through the supplier you're buying needs to be factored into your cost of goods as well. If you use a system like we do, we use Inventora. I'll drop a link below. It's fantastic. They got a free version of it. You put in, when we receive an order, we put into Inventora everything in that order. So we bought this many wicks, we bought this much wax, we bought this much fragrance oil, and the shipping was X amount. We put all of that in there. And then when we build our products out, it calculates all of that for us. So that's a fantastic way to include your shipping in that. Now that you've got your cost of goods, you can start to work your way towards doing at least a 4X on the pricing of your candles. And then the one thing is you got to be proud. You got to be proud of the product you're putting out, stand behind it. When we sell at markets and there's 5 other candle makers there, we're just probably every single time we've always been the most expensive. But I think our branding and our quality and our scents all back up the reason why we can price it at that. And lastly, don't be afraid to change your prices. If it's too low, raise your rate. It's okay, because someone that's buying from you today, if they want to buy a candle from you again because they love it, they're not going to mind spending another dollar or two. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully this was informative and you picked up some tips here. What other questions do you have? I'm open to discussing anything kind of about how we operate our business here. So drop comments below and that'll kind of give me an idea of what to make the next video on. Take care.